it doesn't matter the size of our home. I had my imaginary inheritance, so I'm good. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Raphael and I am here to review Season 8, Episode 14 of the Real Housewives whose husband wants them to sleep with somebody else of Potomac. We start the episode off with the coronation of the new Grand Dame, Aneka. Candace, I feel like she's getting her personal feelings that she has with Giselle mixed into this whole situation because she storms off. She's upset. She's like, I can't believe that somebody would do such a mean thing like this to somebody else to try to hurt their feelings. Candace, it's a plastic crown and a sash. It's never that serious. If Karen is not upset about it, why are you? So Karen, she goes up to Aneka and she's like, Aneka, I'm so glad that you could join me here at the top. It gets lonely being the only Grand Dame, so I'm glad that you could be the Grand Dame of area code 900854. I'm so happy for you. Unlike Giselle, she doesn't even live in Potomac herself. And then we see a map, and yeah, Aneka and Karen, they live in Potomac, unlike the porta potty that Giselle calls a house. That's located somewhere in the bushes. So Giselle, the fact that you're trying to be in Potomac business, the nerve of you, right? Wendy goes to get Candace. She comes back out. Aneka, she starts walking around with the crown like, Jesus told me to go serve, so I'm gonna serve. You know, Jesus is watching this like, I never fucking said that. Take the crown off, give it back to Karen. I'm Team Karen. I don't know what you're talking about. So that was that. They move on to their first activity, which is glow-in-the-dark golfing. And there's two things that I just do not care about doing, and that's golfing and bowling. I just don't get the hype. They're driving these golf carts to the location, and the camera crew were so shady because they kept zooming in on Mia's feet. Giselle, she yells out, thank God that Mia has big feet and she could hit the brakes. That is terrible. So they get to the location. Everything looks really, really pretty with the glow-in-the-dark theme. And they start golfing. And I mean, it's better than chicken shit bingo. So I'll give them that, right? So after that, they start talking about Giselle's relationship with Jason. And Ashley, she asked her, so what happens if Jason pulls a Michael Darby on you and he shows up on social media with somebody else? Giselle is just like, oh no, I pay him every other Friday to be faithful to me. So I'm pretty sure that that's okay. Me and him both agreed to not put anybody else on social media. Okay, Giselle, and then Aneka, she's still wearing the crown. Like she really feels important. And she's like, so what happens if this relationship turns into something serious, into marriage? And oh, Aneka, you foolish, foolish woman. You really think that Jason and Giselle are gonna get married? Aw, so cute. But Giselle is just like, well, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to take it a step at a time. Okay, so then after that, Karen, she pulls Candace to the side and she's like, Candace, what's going on? Because I saw you storm away when we were doing the coronation for Aneka, the Grand Dame of Potomac. I saw that. What was going on? Candace tells her that she doesn't like these games that Giselle is playing. She thought it was disrespectful. It was rude. And after golfing, they sit down to have dinner. And Giselle, she's telling them about Grace's graduation and how she's going to college in Florida. Mia, she questions her and she's like, does it make you nervous that she's going specifically to Florida with the way Florida is right now? And I mean, I agree with Mia. I would ask the same thing because Florida, I mean, all of the United States is a mess, but Florida specifically, that's a whole different planet. You know, every time I see something regarding Florida, it's just a hot mess. But again, all of the United States is a hot mess itself. Giselle, she's like, yeah, it does worry me, especially with the way the government is. It does make me nervous. And then here goes Robyn. Robyn in the confessional, she's looking around first. And then we hear her in the confessional. She's like, you know, it's so interesting. It's so disrespectful how Giselle, she's talking about her daughter, her graduation, her college. Yet we see Candace and Wendy, they're rolling their eyes. They're making faces. Robyn, come over here for a second. Come over here for a second. Come over here. Sit right here. Shut up. Like, oh, Robyn, you are so annoying. Like, you are so far up Giselle's ass. You are such a hypocrite. Because first of all, I rewind the scene a couple of times to see what exactly she was talking about. I'm like, who was rolling their eyes and making faces? Candace, she was making a face at Wendy. I'm not sure if it's just the editing or something, but she was looking at Wendy like, you know, Wendy wasn't doing anything. She was just looking at, you know, straightforward like, So I'm not really sure what Robyn is talking about. What do you mean they're rolling their eyes and being disrespectful? They're just sitting there quiet. And it's crazy because, again, like everybody else on Twitter is saying, it's funny that all of a sudden now you have some type of moral compass on, oh, it's disrespectful to this, to her kids, to her daughter. But yet last season, was it last season or the season before that, you didn't invite Wendy's kids to the event, to the sorry-ass event that you were having. But now all of a sudden it is, oh, it's so disrespectful that they're just sitting there breathing. Like, so hypocritical. And it wasn't disrespectful, what, 2 episodes ago, when what's it called, when Giselle showed up to Wendy's event, to Eddie's event, and you know, they were making the toast like, oh, I'm so glad that we're all laughing and having a good time. And what was your bestie doing? Oh, I wasn't having a good time. I wasn't laughing. What is she talking about? It wasn't disrespectful then? Like, it's so hypocritical how she and Giselle, but it's always funny coming out of Robyn's mouth, how you pick and choose what's wrong and what's right. And production, I don't know, I feel like something is going on behind the scenes, because it's so obvious that they're trying to get Wendy and Candace off the show. It's so obvious. They make it very clear they don't want both of them on the show, and it's very unfair. It's very disrespectful. Wendy tells Giselle that she doesn't think that Florida is a state to go to because they justify killing a lot of black and brown people with their stand your ground law that they have. And she personally wouldn't send her black sons to Florida for college specifically. And I get exactly what Wendy is saying and where she's coming from. And the argument could be made that, okay, not only Florida is the only racist state in America, or the only state that black and brown people get killed, because unfortunately, that's the reality all through the United States. It happens in every state, unfortunately, and it goes unjustified. But I get where her concern is, because Florida, like I said, Florida, you know, it's a whole different situation down there compared to the whole United States. Again, like racism is everywhere, but Florida, you know, there's something about their intensity down there that is just on a whole different level. So I get exactly what she's saying. And she's not coming from like a malicious point of view, in my opinion. And Giselle, I wish that Giselle could just stop being petty for a second and just put this one-sided issue that she has with Wendy to the side, because she just responds with, my daughter's going to be okay. She has Jesus. And I'm like, you know, you couldn't just tell Wendy like, okay, I get it, you know, as mother to mother, black mother to black mother, I get exactly what you're saying, but instead, she just kind of just pushes her thoughts to the side, like, okay, whatever. And I saw people online, they're upset with Wendy saying what she said, which I don't understand why. They're like, you know, why would Wendy say that to Giselle? Giselle's already worried. Why would you say that to her to intensify her worry even more? And I mean, sadly, again, that's the reality of the United States. You know, these are conversations that people probably don't want to have. It's very touchy, it's very sensitive, but unfortunately, you have to have them, and you do have to think about stuff like that. But you know, that was that. Honestly, whether Wendy had said something, whether Wendy had just said, congratulations, I'm happy for Grace, Giselle still would have been shady. Robyn still would have found a way to make that disrespectful. So honestly, Wendy, you could have just, you know, kept your thoughts to yourself and just not said anything. And Robyn, if anything, you need to be worried about Juan making looks at other women besides you. That's who you really should be eyeballing instead of trying to make something out of nothing with Wendy and Candace. Just so annoying. So update, I just saw a sneak peek to next week's episode, and they actually discussed what the Faces was about. Candace says that she was not laughing or doing anything about Grace, that she just does not like Giselle, so she doesn't want to hear anything that Giselle has to say. She makes her uncomfortable, so she just tuned her out. Wendy, she says that she would never talk about Grace or make faces at Grace because of the situation that happened 2 seasons ago, I believe. You know, when Giselle, I completely forgot that Giselle had accused Wendy of making some type of face towards Grace. So after that, Wendy also told her in next week's episode that she would no longer be talking about her kids in any capacity, nor will she make faces at her. So she doesn't know what she's talking about. So there's that, but we'll discuss that later on next week. So Karen goes on to speak about the group, about being friends, moving forward, everything being peaceful. Giselle, she was just like, okay, that's cute and all, but you accused Mia of sleeping with a rapper. What's that about? I'm like, well, damn, Giselle, let the lady have her moment. But Karen, she was ready. She was like, well, honestly, Giselle, I'm sick and tired of everybody always constantly talking about my institution with Ray. You know, everybody's always coming with me, with Ray, with these rumors about me sleeping with people, and I'm sick and tired. So now I'm defending myself against Mia. Mia, I actually brought you into this group. Correction, Karen. The production and Bravo and Andy brought Mia to this group. You know, that was just an illusion. So Mia, she was just like, I mean, yeah, but like you accused me of sleeping with a rapper and I never did that. I never did such a thing. So I'm not sure what you're talking about, Karen. Karen was just like, well, I mean, Mia, you know, I'm sick and tired of you constantly threatening me with these threats about you knowing something about me sleeping with somebody. You know, if you have something, just say it because you obviously don't know the full story. Mia, you know, Mia, I know she's known to be a liar, a big liar, a super liar, a huge liar, but the way she was eating her food, I don't know, there's some truth to it because she was like, well, I mean, I know some stuff about you, Karen, that I haven't said yet. So, I mean, you know, I'm just trying to be a good friend. So Karen was just like, oh, really? Then go ahead and say it because you don't really know anything. Mia, she was just like, You want to try it? And that right there, I'm telling you right there that Mia, she knows something about Karen. I think that they all do, but obviously they respect her enough to not really put her on blast yet. But I feel like if Karen constantly pushes at Mia, Mia is gonna say something. And Mia has nothing to lose. She doesn't care, so she's willing to go down in flames and bring anybody else down with her. Karen had no response. She just said, okay, let's just move on. Giselle said it best in the confessional. It's interesting that Karen doesn't want to defend whatever Mia is trying to accuse her of. She just wants to move on. Obviously, there's some truth there. I agree. So then Kiarna speaks up and she's like, you know, when we got here, I wasn't feeling good. I was in the bathroom doing number 2 and Wendy and Candace, you two were not, checking up on me. And I'm like, oh, Kiarna, you fell right for Giselle's trap. This is exactly what she wanted you to do. Luckily, it didn't really go anywhere because Candace and Wendy, they're like, oh, I'm sorry. We didn't know that you felt that way. We're sorry. And they move on from that. But Kiarna, let's start using this now up here moving forward. Don't fall for Giselle's antics. The following morning, everybody's waking up. They're eating breakfast. Giselle, she goes on to say that she is no longer talking to Candace or Wendy moving forward because the night before they were making faces while she was talking about Grace. Giselle, you were already not speaking to either one of them the entire season, and we're already on episode 14, so what was gonna magically change moving forward? Robyn gets everyone together to play a game of questions about sex, and I'm here for it because if that's what gets the group to get along and to have fun, then why not? The first question was to Kiarna, what's a fantasy of yours that you haven't done yet? She says that she's gone through her whole phase already, so she's done every single fantasy. There's no fantasy left doing, and I like her honesty because, we've all gone through a whole phase before, right? Right? Okay, right. But you sure you're not missing like maybe 1 or 2 fantasies, Kiarna? Like you've done it all? Like, wow, that's pretty impressive. But I like her energy though. I want to see more of her for next season. She honestly should have been a full-time housewife because I love her bubbly personality. I love her energy. I feel like she's what's needed to refresh the show. Wendy's question was, what's the longest that you and Eddie haven't had sex for? She says 2 weeks. But he's in love with my magical brown eye. And I'm like, huh? And then she confirms that she's talking about anal. And I'm like, oh, no wonder he's so damn happy all the time. He's inside your booty hole. So then Robyn's question was, what's a fetish between you and Juan that you two haven't done yet? She actually, Robyn, if I was you, I would have took this to the grave because she says, he wants to watch me have sex with somebody else. He basically said, yeah, get somebody else to do it. And she says that it doesn't matter whether it's man or woman, he's into anything. Wow, Juan, you freak. Call me. So Karen, she was just like, it's very interesting that he's into threesomes. He's probably into threesomes without Robyn. Because I can definitely see the situation playing out like that. Like, Robyn, we're going to have somebody come over. Oh, hey, how are you? That's my wife. Robyn, can you just go down in the kitchen? We're about to have a threesome. And it's just him and the other person. And since we're talking about Juan, let me get my chart. Let me get my magic marker. I need to update this. Yikes, this is not looking good. So, as of now, for this season, Juan has been in episodes 1 through 4. He was not in episode 5 or 6. He did make a comeback for episodes 7 through 10. And then episode 11, he just spiraled out of control. He was not in episode 11, 12, 13, or this episode 14. And just so disappointing. Juan, with all of these exes, I don't think that you deserve to be watching anybody have sex with anybody. Like, what is this? Like, change this up. We had a good start, and then somewhere in the middle, you just messed up. So that's pretty disappointing. So then the next question was to Candace. How many times a week do you have sex with Chris? She said 2, but I feel like she was being nice. The real answer is probably 0. Mia's question was, what's the rapper's name that you slept with? Because she does confirm that she did sleep with this rapper before Gordon, but now she doesn't want to give out his name for privacy reasons. And honestly, Mia, unless he's like a A-list or B-list rapper, we're not going to know who he is. Like, if he gets like 2 streams a month on Spotify, you could keep it. So then Karen's question was, how many people have you slept with in the last 5 years? Such a bold and disrespectful question to ask Karen, the grande dame. She's thinking like, Well, honestly, it has been zero, but I have had a couple of dreams with 40 people. So according to her, she's had like these wet dreams with 40 different people. And I guess that counts. And I mean, if anything, I want to know who exactly those 40 people are. And do any of them have blue eyes? Just say that you're in an open relationship and call it a day. They all know it, allegedly. Aneka in the confessionals, they asked her, the producers are so messy. They might as well be a housewife as well, because they ask Aneka, who would you marry F kill when it comes to husbands in this group? And she says that she will marry Eddie because Wendy's annoying. She wants to take him away from her. First of all, Aneka, let's worry about the relationship that you have with Ike, your husband, because that relationship, that whole marriage between both of you, yeah, I can see it not lasting for too long. So let's start there. Don't worry about Eddie and Wendy. She says that she will F Juan because he's the most attractive in the group. Understandable. And Giselle's question was, you have slept with pastors, models, and athletes. Which one has been the best in the bedroom? Giselle was just like, I think athletes, because, I had a couple. The way she makes it seem as if her pussy was the Super Bowl, she was like, yeah, I had a couple of athletes. I'm like, wow, Giselle, but okay. So, that was that. They had a fun time. I like that they were all laughing and getting along. And we needed this type of energy for once this season. So they head out to this restaurant by the beach to have some lunch. Ashley, she's telling them that she doesn't really know where her life is going right now. Her and Michael, that's up in the air. Mia, she asked her, are you still married to Michael because of financial reasons? And then out of nowhere, Wendy turns it back on Mia. She was like, did you get with Gordon because of financial reasons yourself? Mia's response was very interesting because now she's claiming that he had no money prior to meeting her. He met her when he was broke. So they're looking at her, I'm looking at her like, what do you mean? Because her whole life story, from what we've known of her so far on the show, is that he had money, they got together, they had some type of agreement. But you mean to tell me, Mia, that you specifically got with somebody who was broke? Not saying that broke men don't need love too, they do, but Mia, she's not gonna go after somebody like that. So you're not gonna sit here, Mia, and lie to all of us and say that he had no money. And then on top of that, they start telling her, didn't he give you $10,000 at the gentleman's club that he met you at? And then she had the nerve to say, $10,000 is nothing though, that's still being broke. She's a bougie stripper, huh? Like, that is crazy. $10,000 is nothing to you? I'll be happy, serving steak and lobster in a ball gown for like $100 a night and an Amazon gift card, but $10,000 is too little. But okay, so that was that. And then on top of that, she drops another bomb and she was like, I had more money before Gordon because I had an inheritance. Like, Mia is just lying just to lie at this point. Like, what? You have an inheritance all of a sudden? But your backstory, your mom, your family, like all of that. Like, I could have swore that you were sleeping with Jacqueline. Not like that. Or maybe, who knows, allegedly. But I could have swore that you were sleeping in her family's home. But yet, all of a sudden, you had an inheritance? Like, okay, Mia. And then in the confessional, they asked her, like, what was that about? And she was like, I can't believe I said that. She just lies on the spot for no reason, but I guess it is what it is, Then Ashley, she makes it about herself again, and she's like, Mia asked me if I'm still with Michael for financial reasons, and she said all of this just to basically say, yeah, for her kids, right? Because obviously she couldn't do anything correctly with that divorce. And then apparently now she's going back to her singing career. Why? And because her life coach has told her that she needs to do that again. What kind of life coach do you have that's giving you this type of advice? And then Candace, she gives her a butter knife. And I'm like, Candace, put the knife down, because you and Ashley, you two do not have the best history with that knife. So then Ashley, she gives a little preview of her singing. I use singing very loosely. She gets up and she starts singing, I'm not healing, I'm not thriving, I'm not getting money. I may be petty and I'm messy, I'm still not getting nothing from my divorce. Ooh. And here goes Aneka kissing Ashley's ass. She was like, oh, wow, you sound so good. You deserve a Grammy for that song. Beyonce who? You sound so much better than her. Wow, that is crazy. Wow, and you're doing everything that you're singing about. That's crazy. That's so amazing and fascinating. I'm like, you just got to know Ashley a second ago. Relax. If anything, I'm here for her and Candace teaming up on a diss track towards Michael. That'll be iconic. And you see how Candace still talks to Ashley and she was giving her words of encouragement, like life is all about everything within, like you still could do it, blah, blah, blah. She was doing all of that, and that Candace could not stand Ashley, yet Giselle, Robyn, you two cannot take any pointers from her. They could still interact with each other and hate each other at the same time. So they head out to the cabanas, but before that, they do a little photo shoot on the beach. The caption that they gave to Candace's photo, they called her Booty Cheeks Candace. Candace, I feel like that should be your new stage name. I'm here for it. So after that, we see Giselle, Robyn, Mia, and Ashley. They're laying around. Robyn, we just couldn't end this episode on a positive note, right? She's like, I don't know if anybody saw, but the other night, when Giselle was talking about her precious daughter, Grace, Wendy and Candace, they were making these awful faces. It was so disrespectful. It was very distasteful of them making fun of somebody's daughter like that. And I'm like, Robyn, like, you cannot be that miserable. Like, you can't. Like, there's just no way that you're really that miserable. Giselle starts agreeing with her, even though she says that she didn't see anything, but she says that Robyn saw something. And she's like, yeah, F that, F them. I can't believe that. So disrespectful. I can't believe that they would do such a thing. And I'm like, oh my God, you two are just, you. But, eventually Wendy, she hears this. She comes over with Candace and Karen, and she's like, wait, what's going on here? What's going on? What's happening? What's the conversation? And they're like, and that's how the episode ends. But from the sneak peek that I saw next week, Giselle, the first thing that she tells Wendy is, oh no, I don't want to address it right now. We'll address it later. And that's how the next episode starts off. But if you have something to say, you should have just said it at the dinner table. Robyn, you should have told Wendy and Candace, like, what's with the faces? Yeah, we want to do this. Like, just miserable people. But that's the way the episode ends. But besides that, the whole episode was cute. I like them having fun and actually, doing something fun for a change and laughing with each other. But let me know what you all thought about this whole entire episode down in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah.